I did it again. I bought another motorcycle strictly because it was a deal too good to pass up. But unlike that beautiful Suzuki Intruder that we got for only 700 bucks about a month ago, this bike is a little different. This is the cheapest Honda Navi that I have ever found on Facebook Marketplace, but this time there might be a good reason for it. I'll let you guys be the judge, but we may have gotten a little bit more than we bargained for. Yeah. Soak it in, boys. Nah, I'm just kidding. This is clean. Only 258 miles, garage kept, never dropped, and way more tasteful mods than I was expecting. And it was still the cheapest Navi I've ever seen on Facebook Marketplace. We got an insane deal on this thing. I just thought it'd be kind of funny for future me to play a prank on you guys while we had this thing torn apart for the massive rebuild that we're about to do on it. And then we're gonna surprise my girlfriend with her new Navi that she has no idea even exists yet.
What?
Yeah, this is my girlfriend Nina's Honda Rebel 500, and this time last year, almost exactly a year to the date, we were surprising her with everything that she needed to turn this into her dream bike. And now with this big old pile of parts, and there's even some that we're missing, we're gonna turn this Honda Navi into her dream Navi, and by the time that we're done, it's gonna be even nicer than mine. Now before we talk about all the parts that are going on this Navi over the next 48 hours, let's take a look at the Navi itself and talk about the insane deal that I got and everything that's done to it. Now obviously the first thing that's going to catch your attention is this beautiful Yoshimura exhaust. You already know we're rocking that on my Navi as well and absolutely love it. And then the trained eye might notice that it has a fender delete as well. Now in the Facebook Marketplace ad, those two modifications were the only ones listed, and even that I was more than happy with because you guys might know that just between that exhaust and the tail tighty, that's almost $600 worth of mods that I would do anyway. But then the seller handed me the key and I was like, hey, I think you left your car key fob on here. And he said, no, it actually has an alarm. I'm sure the camera does no justice to how loud that actually is. Now I have no idea what kind of alarm this is. All I know is that it works and it's loud. So you hit the lock button and it's locked. And then if somebody comes up and tries to take the bike, you've been warned once, okay? Okay, you've been warned twice. And then you can unlock it. For a mod that I didn't even know that it had, that is so sick. I'm sure it does not show through the video, but it is loud as hell. And especially for a bike this small that we're gonna be leaving outside of our condo, that's definitely a nice little safety feature. So then I was like, all right, well, the ad didn't say that it had an alarm. What else is done to it? And the guy goes, oh, we also put an LED headlight in there. A nice little color matched crossbar pad as well. But then the kicker, he tells me that it has transmission work done to it. The CVT apparently already has a variator and clutch installed in it. And once again, if you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you know that the clutch and variator is the #1 thing that I recommend for these Navis because it makes such a big difference in takeoff speed and all that kind of stuff. And it's like 250 bucks for that. So for those of you keeping track at home, that is over $800 worth of tasteful mods already done to this thing that I would have done anyway. And you'll never guess what I paid for this thing. Leave your guesses below and add a drum roll. Only 1,100 bucks. That's right, $1,100 for a bike that already has over $800 worth of mods done to it. I honestly feel like I only paid $300 for it. That's that boy math for you. I would have paid 1,100 bucks for this thing in stock form and still been happy with my deal. And of course, once again, boy math comes in clutch. If you get a deal that good, all the money that you technically saved, you can now spend on parts to put into the build to make it a dream build for your girlfriend. So let's take a look at every single thing that we're putting on this bike to make it even better than my Navi over the next 48 hours. At this point, I feel like this video has gone from, oh, I bought the cheapest Honda Navi, this is gonna be really cool to modify, to just an absolute clinic on how to take a perfectly functioning and running Navi and make it inoperable for 2 to 3 weeks at a time.
You have no skills and you're a loser!
All right, so of course you know that we're going with the Michelin City Grip 2 tires. These things are an absolute must-have for any Navi. If you've seen the video that I made putting them on mine, you know that I've talked about the fact that it just really improves the handling and the grip. And again, if you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you know that that's the thing that I'm dreading the most because I did not have the best time putting them on mine. Go. I mounted the rear tire backwards, and I'm just now realizing this at 11:30 at night, the night before this video is going live. Now we are doing the front and rear tire, but the other tire's at my house. I forgot that. Rest assured though, we are doing both. And then in here we have an AC-DC conversion kit from Scooter Swap Shop. We have everything that we need, including bulbs and fuses and such, to switch this thing from AC current to DC and do a full LED conversion for the headlight and the tail light. Now, although I said that this already has an LED headlight, you'll notice that when we turn the key on, it doesn't come on. And then once we start it up, you'll notice that the headlight flickers, and then when you rev it, it gets brighter. And that is exactly how the stock headlight works. I'm not even gonna pretend that I can explain the difference between AC and DC current, but essentially this kit will make it so that as soon as you turn the bike on, even if it's not running, the headlight will be on and you won't have that flicker because the power will be direct to the headlight. So that's what that's for. And then one of the things I'm most excited about is this beautiful NCY rear shock. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. It's height adjustable from I think 12 inches to 13.5 inches, and it's gonna seriously improve the ride quality of this thing. And then once again from Scooter Swap Shop, we have these 1000 RPM clutch springs that will go in the clutch. And when we take that apart, we will truly find out if it does have the clutch and variator like the guy said. And this right here is a fender delete that we're gonna throw on there. You might remember that I said that it already has a fender delete, but I noticed that it seems like the turn signals are bent out. And I thought that at first maybe he had dropped the bike and they bent out, but I think the Scooter Swap Shop one just is already bent like that, so if you use LED turn signals, they can be seen from the back better. And because we're keeping these stock turn signals, I don't need it like that or want it like that, so we just got the same exact Kemimoto fender delete that we're running on my Navi to put on hers. And speaking of which, we got the smoke turn signal covers for hers as well. If you don't already know, these are direct turn signal replacements. We have some for the front and for the back, but just like how we did on mine, instead of replacing the entire turn signal, we're just gonna pop these clear covers off and replace them with the smoke covers for a much better blacked out look. And then we have the Pro Taper bars here. These are the, which ones are they? The CR Highs. These are actually the exact same bars that once again I'm running on my Navi. It's probably hard to tell, but the bars on this are bent back because that's what needs to happen in order for this to fit inside the element properly. But with these bars, hopefully you can tell they are much lower than the factory ones, and they're low enough that I can put these bikes in and out of the element without having to adjust the bars every time. And also, if you compare the stock bars to the Pro Tapers, hopefully you can tell they are way wider as well, which gives you more control of the bike. And I left these at home too, but we are doing bar end mirrors. What's up, guys? Doing the same exact bar end mirrors on her bike, and we're also doing Vans grips on hers as well. But for hers, we're going with the black Vans grips because it'll match a lot better and they won't end up getting all dirty and funky the way that my tan ones have. Now, as for this big old box down here, I'm sure lots of you already know what's going on based off of the cheeky little intro where all the plastics were taken off of this thing, or if you know that when we built her Rebel 500, this was originally red as well, and red is her least favorite color for a motorcycle ever, and that yellow has really become kind of her color. Check us out, baby! We got grasshopper green OEM plastics from Honda that we're gonna swap out. This thing is gonna look so sick. I was a bit concerned at first because these are called grasshopper green and I've never seen one in person before, whereas this is called lemon ice yellow, so I was afraid that they would be too far apart in shades, but hopefully you guys can tell they are pretty damn close. So she's about to have a matching Rebel 500 and Honda Navi. Dude, she's gonna be so stoked. At least I hope so. Cutscene and she hates it, that would suck. Now it's not just the side panels that we're doing on this bike. We got both of the side panels there, but we also got the new grab handle, because obviously that is red, and if we did that with yellow, it would be the Ronald McDonald machine. And then we got the headlight cowl, so it'll match as well. And I think that is it. I know I have a few parts left at home, but I think I already covered all the bases explaining them. All we gotta do now is start tearing this thing down. And boom, just 30 minutes later, this thing is an absolute shell of what it used to be and is torn down to where we need it. But I suppose at this point of things, this is probably the part where future me, which is now current me, goes and films that intro to play a little joke on you guys, so please hold. All right, intro complete, and now we're gonna go for the AC-DC conversion since all of the panels are already off, and from what I've seen, this should be pretty simple. Like I said before, this should have everything that we need right here. This is the wire that we're gonna use, comes with a splice, and then new bulbs. I especially like that I got the one that comes with the headlight bulb, because I didn't realize the headlight bulb that they had been using is one of the ones with like a big lead and stuff, so I don't really like that. So it's nice that we have the headlight bulb to throw in there. Looks like we just gotta undo this to take the battery cover off. There we go. Then we gotta undo that Phillips head right there to get that fuse box out. That's what we need right there. Then we'll come down here on the side to the regulator rectifier and unplug that plug. Boop. And then on this plug, you're gonna see these brown wires, and both of those lead in right there, and we need to de-pin those. So that's gonna be that one. Take a little flathead screwdriver and push that out. There we go, finally. That was a little more of a pain in the ass than it needed to be. The whole point is that you're trying to get that little tab right there pushed down so this can slide out. But my screwdriver was too big. My pick was fine at the end, but got too wide down here. And I ended up being able to get it with this tiny little Allen key. Okay, now the blue wire from Scooter Swap Shop just slides right in there. Then we run that wire up along here to that fuse box that we got to earlier. Okay, then we got the fuse box here. There's two red and black wires, and I believe we need this one, the one closest towards the front of the bike. We're gonna take this splicer that Scooter Swap Shop gave us and slide it in there. Boom. Then the blue wire that we just plugged in a second ago is gonna go into that other slot like so. And then we're gonna close this and clip it closed, and that metal connection is gonna make a connection with both wires. Go to your home. There we go, that should be it. Both wires seem secure. So let's go ahead and plug the headlight in. Easier said than done, one-handed, there we go. Get this plug back in place. Make sure it's secure, and let's test it out. Where's the key? Aha, here it is. Oh, don't wanna lose that screw. Okay, moment of truth. Boom, see? So now it comes on with no flicker before the bike's even running. Let's go ahead and get the tail light swapped out. Easy freaking peasy, baby. Let's go ahead and give that a test as well. Let's go, dude. That is bright as hell, actually. Okay, so now that that's done, we don't need access behind those panels anymore, so we can go ahead and throw on the new plastics, the new headlight, the new handle, and this thing is gonna take shape really fast. And you already know it's gonna be super simple, because all we gotta do is, let's go.
Let's go.
This thing looks so freaking good, dude, and I think we're only, less than 2.5 hours into the project, and it's already looking this good. Obviously, switching out the plastics and doing the LEDs is the biggest kind of like visual change that's going to be made to it, but there's still so much more to come. I just cannot get over how good it looks sitting next to the Rebel 500, dude. She's gonna freak out having matching bikes. I honestly can't believe how close of a match it is for one of the paint colors being called yellow and the other one green. This thing looks so freaking good, dude. Now, in full transparency, I wanted to have the new tail tighty and the smoke turn signal covers on before I just did that, before I just did that clap transition, but I realized my camera is at red for the battery and I didn't want to risk it. So still got the cool transition, and now we got the turn signal covers and tail tighty on. Let's make sure that we even have the signals wired up properly. Right, okay, left, let's go.
Let's go.
And I think with that, we're gonna call it a wrap on day number 1.
Nice.
You know those memes that say something along the lines of every 20-minute job is one broken bolt away from turning into a 3-day ordeal? Well, that's the reality that we're living in currently. But it's even worse, because it's not a 3-day ordeal. Today is actually day number 8. As smoothly as day number 1 went, day number 2 went the exact opposite. That's not good. I'm kind of freaking out. Let me explain. Okay, so day number 2 was supposed to start out with the handlebars, something nice and simple to start the day off, and you might remember me very confidently saying that we got the CR High handlebars, but as soon as I took them out of the packaging, I immediately noticed that something was different, and I quickly realized I thought that I had the right bars all along, but as it turns out, these are actually the bars that I ordered a while ago to put on the XR150, and these will not work on the Navi. As you can hopefully see, very similar in stature to the OEM XR150 bars, but quite lower than what I have on my Navi currently. Made even more noticeable when you compare them to the stock Navi bars. So that sucked, but I figured, you know what, no big deal. I'll just go to Cycle Gear and get some new ones. But I figured before I do that, I'll order them online so they're ready to pick up so that we don't waste any time. It took a couple hours and I finally got the email from Cycle Gear saying they were ready for pickup. And I get to the store and they said, oh yeah, we actually don't have those, but we have some that might work, and then just showed me CR highs. So apparently, I guess the guy just, you know, put in that they had them reserved for me to get me to the store and try to get me to buy other bars, but we were back at square one. But I figured no big deal. We'll go ahead and open up the CVT transmission, which I've done countless times before, and we'll check to see if it actually has the clutch and variator that the seller said. But obviously, if that went well, it would not be in the current state that it is. I took everything apart. Come to find out, it does indeed have the Scooter Swap Shop clutch and the Scooter Swap Shop variator. That was super exciting, so I went to put everything back together. I started the bike up to make sure everything was put back together properly, and when I revved it up to double check, these pieces of plastic shot out. Now, these two pieces of plastic are supposed to look like this one piece of plastic right here. So immediately I go, oh shit, that's not good. Now those pieces of plastic go right here on the back face of the variator and help this slide between the front face of the variator like so. And what I didn't realize is that in my excitement taking everything apart and finding that it does have upgraded parts, I didn't realize that one of them had actually fallen off and landed right there in the shadows. And when I started the bike up, it got chewed up and spit out as such. And I suppose that somehow in that process, the back face of the variator must have got bent ever so slightly, because this thing was absolutely stuck on the shaft. That thing right there. I'm not kidding when I say that it took me hours to get it off, of prying, WD-40, wiggling, everything you can think of. Oh, literally made me bleed my own blood trying to get it off. You can see I'm still kind of tore up from it. And that's the only thing I can think of, is that that plate had to have gotten slightly bent when that happened, because I've never experienced anything like that. It seriously took me hours. So at that point, I realized that I couldn't just buy new guides or whatever these are called. I would obviously have to, you know, play it safe and order a whole new variator. So then I figured, all right, let me just go ahead and take apart this clutch to put the new 1000 RPM springs in there, and that's when I stripped out that bolt. Bruh. Now, how the hell do you strip that bolt out? I forgot that my 39mm had gotten stripped out trying to take my neighbor's tow hitch off, and I never bought a new 39mm. So much for the excitement about the fact that this bike already had the clutch and variator. I had to order new ones, and those should be here in a couple hours. And the new bars showed up last night, so we should be right on time to get everything put back together. I say right on time, but I mean like as on time as we can be for having to wait 5 or 6 days for things to ship to us. Oh, but I almost forgot to mention that in the chaos of day 2, a good thing that happened is we did actually get the NCY spring put on. It was super simple, just one bolt up there, one bolt down here, and then we did have to put a super thin washer in there to keep it from having any side-to-side play. I haven't been able to test this out yet because obviously I can't ride the bike because the transmission is taken apart, but things are looking really hopeful for that, because just from sitting on the bikes, you can tell that while my Navi has a whole lot of sag, and you can just tell how soft that spring is, this one does not have that at all, but still doesn't feel as jarring as a stock shock. So things are looking very promising for this, and we'll test that out once everything's put back together. Okay, now that you guys are finally caught up to speed on my day from hell, let's go ahead and get the handlebars and controls and everything taken off so we can get ready to put the new bars on. Less than 10 minutes later, we got the bars taken off, and I actually used one of the cable ties from the bars to kind of like put all this together and then put it on top of a microfiber so the plastics don't get scratched. I probably should have done that from the beginning, but if I'm being totally honest, these aren't even painted. It's just plastic this color molded into this shape, so scratches aren't even super noticeable in the first place, so whatever. Now, all of the stock controls do have these pieces right there sticking up. Some of them are metal like that, some of them are plastic, and those go into into these holes right there on the stock bars to keep the controls from spinning. We will have to take the new bars and drill matching holes in there so the controls don't spin, but I just got a notification that the clutch and variator have officially been delivered, so we're gonna go pick those up, and while we're there, we're gonna use the Dremel to file this down. The stock grips that we cut off have these flanges, and then they have grooves in there that go over the flanged part of the throttle tube, but Van's grips don't have a flange, so you can see I did the same thing with mine. I just grinded it down so that you don't have any flare there and not on that side. It's a little OCD, but it looks better and feels better to me, so we'll do that while we're picking up all the CVT parts, and then once we get back, we'll get to drilling the holes in the bars and throwing them. Sometimes I'm not sure what the worst part about having a stupid moment is, whether it's realizing that you did something stupid or when you voluntarily decide to post that stupidity to the internet. We hit another snag. But I'll give you the good news before I give you the bad news. The good news is that we did indeed go home and successfully trim that flange off of the throttle tube. Not only that, but we also hollowed out the end to make room for the bar end mirrors, and we did the same thing for both of the Van's grips. We took the end out so that we can put bar end mirrors on, which means that we are now officially ready to get started putting the bars on. But for the bad news and another dose of stupidity, you remember how earlier I just casually said that the nut that was holding the clutch together was stripped?
I stripped out that bolt.
Well, I wasn't thinking that we needed to reuse that and everything behind the clutch with the new clutch. For some reason, in my head, all of that stuff just came together as a kit, I guess because it's been so long since I've done it, or I don't know why. But I wasn't thinking that the stripped out nut meant that we wouldn't be able to take everything apart to put the new clutch on. And long story short, I had to cut it off. It's the only way that I could get it off to get everything apart. On the bright side, I don't feel quite as bad because I look back at the footage of me taking everything apart initially and I saw that that nut was actually already stripped partially from, I guess, the last owner taking everything apart and putting it back together. So I feel a little bit better because it wasn't entirely my fault that it was stripped like I thought, but that doesn't change the fact that we had to cut that nut off and none of the dealers in the area had any in stock. And not only that, but this whole part right here, right there is where that nut attaches to. I guess I wasn't careful enough, and once I was done, I realized that I got metal shavings in the bearings when I cut the nut off. Hopefully you guys are able to see the sparkle inside of those needle bearings, which means that we have even more parts to wait for now. I had to go on Partzilla and order a new nut to hold everything together, and while I was there, I just ordered a whole new backing plate or whatever the hell this is called, because I'm not gonna put it back together with metal shavings in there. No matter how much I think I cleaned it out, I'd rather do it right the first time. So yeah, that's great. Oh, and also when I took the clutch apart, I found that it had a Malossi contraspring in there, which I always thought was a good thing. But of course, in my journey to find parts for the clutch so I didn't have to order it off of Partzilla, I went on the forums to see if anybody had any, and I came across a post from Scooter Swap Shop saying that they don't recommend using the Malossi spring with their kit. It just doesn't work right, and they recommend using the stock spring. So that's on the way from Partzilla as well. At this point, I feel like this video has gone from, oh, I bought the cheapest Honda Navi, this is gonna be really cool to modify, to just an absolute clinic on how to take a perfectly functioning and running Navi and make it inoperable for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. But on the bright side, I forgot that I had ordered this, and this came in, so that'll be cool. It's a little Laminex X that'll go over the headlight like that, and it'll match the one on her 500, so that's at least exciting news, and I'll take all the exciting good news that I can get at this point. All right, well, that's enough moping about another stupid move with the clutch. Let's go ahead and get the bars kind of mocked up, and I'll show you guys how we're gonna drill the holes precisely. Okay, so we got the bars mocked up exactly where we need them to be, and we're just about ready to start drilling. Essentially what I did is put the bars in their mounts where they're gonna be when I ride, and to find that position, I put them as far back as they can be without making contact with the plastics on either side. Now, it is worth mentioning that I already have the parking brake put on, because if I'm remembering correctly from when I put those bars on my Navi, that was the biggest pain in the butt to put on, because I had already buttoned up this entire side and this wouldn't really reach because everything else kind of separates into two parts, whereas this just kind of folds open, and you do have to bend this further open with a screwdriver to get it to pass over the textured part here. So I definitely recommend putting that on first. We're gonna start on the throttle side because we have 2 holes to drill over here and only 1 on the other side. For the throttle side, we're gonna need to drill a hole for this pin right here on the throttle itself, and then the kill switch has a pin that we'll have to drill a hole for as well. Now this is just regular old painter's tape that I have here, and the idea is that for each of the controls, we're gonna get them exactly where they need to be at the exact right angle, and then we'll take the pin and close it on the bars like it would be once it's done, apply a bunch of pressure, and that pin is actually gonna dent the painter's tape so we know exactly where to drill. Okay, so I'm gonna sit on the bike and bring the throttle tube in to exactly where it needs to be, and then once we have that at exactly the right spot and angle that we want, we're gonna take the face of it right where it would go and push down as hard as we can to make sure that we get a nice dent in the painter's tape. Okay, so that's gonna be our dent right there, so we know exactly where to drill. And to get it in exactly that spot, we got this fancy tool that's gonna clamp around the bars, and the middle bolt is hollow, so that's gonna let us drill right where we need to. And to find the right size drill bit, I literally just took one and checked until it was the exact same size as the stock hole. Okay, so hopefully it's showing well, but you can see the clamp is around the bars, and then that dent is right in the middle of that hole. And then once we tighten this down on the hole with an Allen key as well, that dent's gonna be right in the middle of that hollow opening right there. Now we just line the drill bit up perfectly in that opening. And boom. Okay, and now you can see we got everything tightened down, the pin's in the hole so none of this is spinning, everything's at the right angle, and then double check the throttle, and it snaps right back in place, no restrictions. We already have the painter's tape set up right here for the kill switch, then we'll just have to do the controls over here. Then we'll throw the grips on the same way that you've seen countless times on the channel before by using hairspray. That'll help the grip slide on, and once it dries, it'll be like glue. Can't forget about the bar end mirrors. And the bars are on. Oh my gosh, it's starting to look like a complete bike again. I gotta be honest, even with all the chaos of this build, most of it my own fault, finally seeing the bars on with the fairings and everything, it's just really starting to feel like the vision that I had for it, and I could not be more stoked, dude. Look at how good that looks. As long as you don't look at it from this side.
Brother, what's that?
All right, now it's time to finish off day number 10, 9, 11 with the Headlight X. This is really gonna pull things together and make it look like her Rebel. Super stoked to see how this looks. Pray to God that we have what it takes to get this as perfect as possible. Ooh. I think we did that first try. Oh, I think we did it. That X was absolutely the right call for this bike. Not only does it look awesome, but I'm so stoked that it's gonna match her Rebel 500 even more now. With where my head's been from just all of the CVT drama and realizing that half of it was stupid shit that I could have avoided, seeing the bike like this and getting a win like this is exactly what I needed today. Tomorrow we're gonna throw the tires on while we patiently wait for all of the CVT parts from Partzilla. Here's hoping to a quick and easy finish to this, because it has been a while now and Nina is starting to get annoyed that I keep coming up with excuses for why the garage is blocked and she can't get to her bike. So I don't think we have much more time that I can keep making excuses before she suspects something is seriously up. Day 16, 8:40 p.m. and we are finally ready to wrap up. We just waited a week, even with expedited shipping, for the parts to show up, and now we're ready to go. If you remember last time we were waiting on this bottom plate right here, that spring and that top nut, it came in. I already got it put together at home just to kind of make things go faster. Just came in today, so we're running out of time, so I figured that was the best bet. Pretty much you just got to pack the inside with grease. There's a sleeve you got to take out, pack that with grease and put it back together. Also, it'll be hard to see, but I did put the 1000 RPM clutch springs in there. We did not use the clutch springs that we had before because the Scooter Swap Shop kit actually comes with all 3 that you would need. Also, we already have the variator out there, but the variator kit comes with 3 different weights, and I think it comes with the 11s in there, but we went with 12s because I think that's what we run in that Navi. Off camera, we also got the new tires put on. I figured it wasn't worth filming that because A, it's a pain in the ass, and B, I already have a full video about that if you want to check it out, but we got it on the front and the back. Sorry if I'm talking fast, but we are running out of time, not only because we're exactly 2 weeks past the deadline, but also because the storage unit closes in an hour and 18 minutes. So we have that long to go ahead and put everything together. We should be good to go. Wish me luck. Okay, moment of truth. Okay, is this working properly? Not locked up? Whew. Okay, moment of truth. Oh my gosh. Okay, I feel confident tightening everything all the way down now. Okay, moment of truth. How does it ride? Oh, it rides great! Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh my God, boys, we've done it! I can almost guarantee that that was one of the worst montages that I've ever done, because once again, we are on a pretty serious time constraint, so I only got a few shots, but hopefully it turned out as sick as I pictured in my head. But look at how good the freaking bike turned out, dude. Oh my gosh. I mentioned yesterday that we did a couple things off camera, like putting the tires on, but I forgot to mention that we also took the front fender off so the tire would fit. I also took off all the Honda stickers and everything for a cleaner look, like off of there, you know, the warning label there, the Honda sticker on the back. I got some of the mirror block off plugs and put those there in place of what was left from the stock mirrors. And what else? Oh, I took off the front reflectors for the cleaner look like my Navi has, but those will have to go back on when this thing gets inspected. What else? Oh, I forgot how freaking loud these Yoshi pipes are on the Navi. Mine has the spark arrestor in it, but I need to get one for this because I've been riding this thing around for like the initial shakedown run for the past few hours, and this thing is loud, especially riding around a neighborhood like this. It's a little crazy. But other than that, she is absolutely dialed, ladies and gentlemen, which, you know, she better be after all that time. And speaking of time, we are running out of time because I just got a text from Nina about 10 minutes ago saying that she's off work. So we gotta go surprise her. Still not entirely sure how I'm gonna surprise her though, so we gotta figure that part out. Surprise.
Wow. It's literally a mini version. How freaking cute. Oh my God, I love it.
It's a Navi replica of your bike, and it also pretty much matches my Navi.
I just realized there were two.
You didn't even realize it?
I just realized there were two.
That's why I set them up like that.
Oh.
I didn't change.
I was just mesmerized by this. I literally thought you had just changed the graphics. Where did you get this? I was so mesmerized by this. I did not even see the one in the back. I thought you just changed the graphic and made it look like mine.
I figured that's what you would think.
Oh my God. It's so cute.
Okay, so the way that I got it is I actually got it when you were in Scotland.
What? What?
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Okay, I'm gonna stop recording so you can actually soak it in, and then we'll go get ice cream on them.
Okay.
They look so cool together.
That was so much fun.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up this video. Oh, I forgot to tell you the part where I didn't realize until yesterday that I started working on the bike on the 23rd, and I finished it exactly 16 days later.
Wow.
Both of our lucky numbers.
Very cool.
Well, I'm glad you love it. I love you.
Of
And 17 days later now at this point, it's finally a wrap on the Navi. End it with a beep. Subscribe if you're new here. I'll catch you on the next one. Love you guys. Peace.
Oh, so basic. Hope you play this. Damn, I prayed it. Nice song and I became this. Old souls fake it. Paid those placements. Fuck shit. And I'm still waiting on the brighter days. Been a minute, been rough many times more. And I'm kicking rocks to a sky of gray. Praying hard, talk to me before I'm done for.